Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to another live windsurf coaching. It's the 29th of June, summer, middle of summer. And we had a couple weeks off. I was in Morocco doing the master classes, coming back, traveling, and all of that got in the way of doing the live coaching. So we're going to catch up, take it easy here, go through everything that's been posted. Make sure nothing is left out. I'm going to do a post in the group letting everyone know that we are live. All right. Open up the chat if you're joining us. Live coaching is now. Boom, boom, boom. Get that posted. There we go. All right. And then let's get into it. If you sailed this week, let us know. Say hi in the chat. Who we got? We got Herman. Hello, hello. All right. I'm in Germany. I'm in Hamburg. I had a lot of windsurfing in Morocco. We had wind almost every day. There were a few days with lighter wind, and that meant for the Masterclass group doing tack practice and loop exercises. But generally, in the time I was there, was windy almost every day. So I was there for 2 weeks, and yeah, I'm not sure how many days of those I sailed. A lot. I was destroyed. I came back from Morocco destroyed. I was so tired from doing all the coaching and all the windsurfing. But that's always a good thing, right? After a windsurfing trip. And the next one is in Gran Canaria. So in just under 3 weeks, I fly out again, and the masterclass starts there on should start on the 21st. So then there's still space. So if you want to join us in Gran Canaria, I encourage you to sign up. You can do it here together. You can go to windsurfingmasterclass.com, and then you can go apply here. Check out the Gran Canaria, fill out the application, and it's easy as that. Easy as that. All right, we got some people in the chat. Herman, we already said hello. Ragnar's going to be in Pozo, doing some bump and jump. Greg was in Morocco. Yeah, had some good sessions. Lots of high fives. Matt also was in Morocco, different weeks. Matt was killing it. Matt was charging, going for big high fives, forward loops, all of the above. It's awesome. You know, the theme of these Morocco masterclasses, both weeks had the same theme, and that was don't judge your success based on how many times you don't fall, but on how many times you go for it. And the guys were just going for it. I love to see it. Matt was going for it. Greg was going for it. Axel was going for it. Axel was also there. Cora was also going for it. Really, really going for it. And that was cool. I realized I've been saying his name wrong this whole time, and I'm sorry for that. We got Dennis as well in the chat. Nice. I'm happy to hear you're back on the water. Cool. All right. I'm going to jump into the Facebook group, and you guys know the drill. You can interrupt me, ask questions, all of the above. Let's just get through it. So, questions for this week. Zach wants to know about wave timing and generating speed on the wave. Whew. Yeah, so that's a big question. That's a big question. I'll talk about it a little. Zach, if you are in the chat, if you have some photos or video, that will help me be more specific, because something like just wave timing and speed is a huge topic, a massive topic. We could write a book about it. And so on the live stream, unless there's a specific issue that you have, it's hard to know that I'm getting your issue right. We've got Wave Nutter joining us in the chat. First live stream. Yeah, awesome. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Let us know where you joining from, Wave Nutter. All right, I'm going to just talk a bit about wave timing and speed. It's a great question. I love it. It'd be great to have some video paired with it. So, I'm blocking this. Hold on. Let me reduce my size. There we go. All right, so wave timing and speed. So the thing with timing is your placement matters and your wave selection matters. So before we even get into timing, the wave that you're on is very important. And so you can talk about wrong timing, wrong technique, wrong place, but if you're just on the wrong wave, maybe it's too small, maybe it's closing out, maybe it's not even breaking, then nothing's going to work. So you have to be on the right wave. And then you need to be on the right place on that wave. And some of the heuristics that I talk about are starting with a power source, so you have speed, and going to a power source, so you have something that's going to give speed to the board. And in terms of once you have all that figured out, in terms of figuring out when to go, you actually learn more from looking at the bottom of the wave. And the bottom of the wave gets smooth when it's time to do your bottom turn. The top of the wave can look like it's going to break, but just trick you. Whereas the bottom of the wave doesn't really lie. So if it gets smooth, you can do a bottom turn. There's going to be power on the top. So that's really about timing. For speed, staying high on the wave is really important. You don't want to drop down in front of the wave. You don't want to be on the mid face of the wave. You want to be right on the tippy top of the wave, then drop down, do your bottom turn, come back up. So if you're traveling down the line, you want to be high on the wave. But this is such a good question, and there's so much to say about it that I'm going to put it to the chat. We've got a lot of guys in here who have been on masterclasses with me. Almost everyone, actually, in the chat at one point has been on a masterclass, and we work on both timing and speed. And so I encourage everyone, whether you've been on a masterclass or not, to put some comments in the chat. What do you think are the tips that help you the most, or what do you remind yourself for wave timing and speed? Next, we've got a question from Mark. He's been watching surfing bottom turns and a lot of analysis going on. Lackey Peterson lists the following 4 key moments, which I thought might be interesting. Okay, eye on section you want to hit. Yeah, I think that's interesting. So I think there's like the eye. I have 2 eye movements. So at the beginning of the bottom turn, you're looking at smooth water where you want to turn. And then once that's set and you're setting your rail, then you're looking up where you're going to go. So I agree with that, but I think the first part of looking at the smooth water is also very important in the very beginning. And then compress weight into inside rail. I'm not sure exactly what that means, compress weight into inside rail, but it sounds right. The apex of the bottom turn well behind the section you are eyeing off. Yeah, this is a good point. So the apex, if we're looking at an arc, right? Can I do an arc in this little box that I'm stuck in? I'm like a mime. Where are the ends? I can't even get the ends. Anyway, so the apex, I'm just do it like this. Like, how can I do it? You guys know what an apex is, but just in case you don't, like the apex is this point here, right? It's the point that sticks out the most, the highest point out from the bottom turn. And you want to make sure that that point is not at the point where you want to hit the lip. And that makes a lot of sense because if you think about your turn like a U, if the apex is where you want to go, you're not going to be able to get to where you want to go. So you need the apex to be behind or in front of, depending on how you're thinking about behind and in front. You want it to be that you set the apex, and then down the line from that is where you want to hit. That's a really good point. Coiling the torso and unweighting pre-top turn before hitting the lip. Yeah, coiling the torso and unweighting. There's definitely elements of this in wave sailing too. What time is the live stream in British Central Time? I think it's 8 p.m. All right, that's an easy one to answer. What time is it in England? I wish all these questions were that easy. All right. Time to celebrate wins. I love this post. We do this post every month. Every month, this post automatically pops up, and I've programmed it to happen because I love celebrating wins, because we talk so much about what we're doing wrong. I think it's also very important to celebrate what we're doing right. So Jochen is learning to dog jibe and having an awful lot of fun. Awesome. Love it. Light wind, big board, small sail is great for practicing the sail control. All right, Dom Dom, 7 sessions, best month of the year by far. Big fun and small waves. Cool. Let's watch Dom Dom's clip. Does this work? No. Of course. Facebook doesn't allow us to go full screen. So we're gonna have to watch Dom Dom's itty bitty video. Come on. It doesn't want to keep playing. All right. Wow. Nice. Going for the back loop. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. Landing it too. Solid. Some flow in the wave riding. Mark is here. Mark made it. Dom Dom. Awesome. Dom Dom's been with us since day one, and it's been so cool to watch his sailing evolve over that time. We got Olaf as well. Hello, hello. Awesome, Dom Dom. This looks really solid. The back loops look great. And boom. A little bit of one-handed action. I love the one-handed top turns. And another back loop. Let's see it. Dom Dom, you really looks like you had a breakthrough on the back loops. You're landing a bunch of them. I love it. Cool. We've got Mark in the chat. Olaf also. Hello to both of you. Ragnar letting us know what he thinks helps the most for wave timing and speed. He said, try to look around a lot, find landmarks, watch where the wave in front breaks. Then for the bottom turn, glossy and no weed makes good speed. I agree with that. So wins, Greg, first time in Morocco, improved his top turns. Yeah, Greg was killing it. Greg, you're so modest. I was so shocked on that first. So we had a session before our first day, and I was watching you sail. And then we had our first day, and your first wave, you were just smashing lips. I felt like, all right, my work's done. That was his goal: smashing lips, getting high fives. But then you just built from there. So yeah, definitely improve the top turns on starboard tack. And I'm really excited to see where your loops go. Tomas had some wave sailing. Awesome. And Jonty said he was at Gwithian. Nice. It was bigger than he thought. Got some big waves on a big day. Robert. Nice. New board. And sounds like he's in the gorge. Some wave sailing in Fuerte from Joris. Let's check this out. What is this? Let's turn the sound off. All right, let's see. It looks beautiful. I love the colors. Here at Glass Beach, this is one of the famous spots. North Shore, Fuerte. Look at all that sand. All right, let's see the action. Looks good. I've never sailed here. I've been to Fuerte, but Never got good wave action, but it happens. Definitely one of the good spots. Look at that. Yeah, it looks super fun. All right. George said he didn't get worked up that he missed more gorge sessions. Oh no, and he has yet to visit the Oregon coast. This sounds like not wins. Oh yeah, I missed Mark. Improved the forward on stubber tack and had a blast in Morocco. Awesome. Jeff has missed a lot of sessions, but had a step forward on his high fives. Cool. Awesome. Leaning into the bottom turn. Yeah, cool. I love to hear it. These kind of testimonials, when you finally start getting the bottom turn and you're trusting the high five, make me so happy because this is such an important part of riding waves, where you're leaning into the bottom turn as hard as you can and coming up into the lip and trusting that it's going to throw you around. Suna had a great time in Morocco. Suna had a great time that you were in Morocco. Awesome. Mark made progress on his tags. Cool. Love it. Love it, love it. My win this month, what was my win this month? It has to be Morocco, right? My win has to be Morocco. I had a good time sailing with everyone that was there for the master classes, seeing everyone progress. I love seeing the progress from the people that come to the master classes. Gives me a lot of satisfaction, and I had some good days on the water as well. We got Nicholas as well. He's moving to Brittany. So if anyone has advice for Brittany wave sailing, give him some advice. I don't know who to tag in this. Who's our local Brittany crew? I'll ask Dom Dom. Maybe he knows. Who are the Brittany locals in the group? Anyone to help Nicolas? All right. Next up, we got a loop update from Tomas. So let's see if there's any questions. So he's trying to tuck the back leg more, stay sheeted in longer, look back more. And he's looking for any extra tips. All right, we've got an ad here. Let's wait for the ad to finish. We'll get back to it. All right, wow, it's a long ad. All right, here we go, some loops. So this happens to Tomas a lot, where he lands funky with the board like that. So pushing off, looking back, and then there's this big extension with the back leg. And Tomas, those landings are pretty weird. Let's see if we can unwork it. If we can unwind it. So taking off, it looks like you have a wide-ish grip. You could have a much wider grip. You could move that front hand back and the back hand back. Can you guys see this, by the way? I can make myself smaller. Oh, it looks like it works. All right. All right, that one looks better. All right. Looking back, I like to see it looking back. Looks like you're looking back very early. Let's watch this again, a little bit slower. All right, looking back off the ramp. I love it. Getting some height, staying tucked up. The board starts to do its weird thing again. All right. Coming around. Yeah, maybe you're preempting the landing too much on these. So you could have a wider grip. You're doing a good job looking back. You could look back harder. I think if you keep your legs tucked up, you'll land this fine. My feeling is that you're sheeting out and extending the legs, and it pushes into some kind of tabletop that if you stay sheeted in with the legs tucked up, you'll land fine, is my guess. Which is also what you said. Tuck the back leg more, stay sheeted in, look back more and longer. Yeah, just staying in the ball, tucked up in the ball might help. Looks like your technique is pretty good. Yeah, interesting. There's a lot of comments here. Let's see what people are saying. Looking back, yep, definitely helps. You can also wider grip, like we said. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, those are my main comments. I think keeping the legs. I think you're like sheeting out and extending the legs as you're coming out of it, and you're kind of looking where you're going to land, and it puts you in this tabletop. Where if you stay tighter with your body, you're going to have harder landings, but I think you're going to land it pretty solid, and it's not like you're going huge. The other thing that you can do is as you're coming out of the loop, lean the mast towards the tail of the board, and that will also stop the rotation. So it could be that you're trying to stop the rotation with that extension, but an easier way to stop the rotation is putting the mast back, and that will stop the rotation. It's almost like the position going into a back loop, and that will stop your rotation. You're saying that if you focus on one leg, you manage not to extend it. So just focus on the back leg. Actually, the back leg is all that matters in the forward in terms of tucking up. We talk about going into a ball, but you can actually have the front leg straight. And sometimes you even want to have the front leg straight. This starts to get a little bit more technical for the forwards. But sometimes if you want a faster rotation, you're actually kicking with that front leg, pushing it towards the water. So you're really kicking it, trying to get the nose down towards the water with that front leg, and the back leg is tucked up. And so if you just think about keeping the back leg tucked up, that should do the trick. You can think about pushing with the front leg down, but if that's too much, then don't. All right, we've got a question from Chris, also about learning forwards, about the right range. So you want to be on something not too big, not too small. So if it's too small, everything happens very fast, and the gear is not very forgiving. It's very responsive. If the gear is too big, it's heavy, it's not responsive, it's slow, and that's too hard. So somewhere in the middle range, for most people, that's going to be between 4.2 and 5.0 if you're on the bigger side. Put a 5.5 in there if you're on the smaller side, 3.7 in there. And for boards, probably don't want to go much over 15 to 20 liters over your weight. My forward loop course, I just did a big recording of it over the weekend, yesterday. So that's going to be out soon. Jakob with some beautiful forwards. Look at that. Look at this loop. I can't tell how cheesy this is. I know, Jakob, a lot of times your loops end up pretty cheesy. It's hard to tell from this angle how cheesy it is. There's no problem with going cheesy also. I like a good cheesy roll. I wonder if we can figure out the deuce, how cheesy it is. So you do kind of lean forward, but then you're throwing it back. Pretty solid. I like this. I think you could have even just sailed out of this. I know you get out of the foot straps, but if you just pushed the sail up and muscled it, you would have sailed away from it. So I really like this. I think you're charging, really charging. You could go with a wider grip. So I'm a little bit hesitant to say too much because I really want to see how cheesy this is. My feeling is that it is a little cheesy, and I think that's fine. And so I don't want to give you any false advice, because the technique, the cheese technique and the normal loop technique are a little bit different. And if you're naturally rotating a little bit cheesy, I think lean into it. Those are cool rotations. And instead of abandoning that rotation to then get into more of a spin loop rotation, just embrace it. I like this. You're looking back hard here, but you could keep looking back, and that will help you spot the landing, right? So if you're looking back and you keep the legs tucked up, that will help you with the last bit of the rotation. So let's just say that this entry looks great. You're sheeting in, you're tucking up, you're looking back, pulling everything around. But then here you're looking towards the nose, and you want to be looking over here where you're going to land, and that will help keep this tucked in, help keep your body twisted in the direction that you're rotating. Because now if we freeze frame this and you ask me to guess what you're doing, I might guess that you're doing a back loop, right? Because you're looking the opposite rotational direction. It looks like you're rotating to your left. It looks like you're coming down here, but actually you're rotating to the right. So you want to be looking to the right and twisted to the right, because now you're looking and twisting away from your direction of rotation. So if you keep looking and twisting in the direction of rotation, I think you're going to get the extra tiny little bit of rotation that you're going to need to land that and sail out of it. I mean, this pretty much you are sailing out of this. This is pretty darn near landed. Like if you just pushed up this sail here, you could have sailed out of it. If you just kind of muscled the water start, stayed in the straps, you would have sailed out of it. So just that little bit of extra rotation. So hopefully conceptually that makes sense. I think what you're doing all looks solid for this kind of loop. It's just here, you want to keep this twist and this head position instead of then looking back this way, because you're traveling this way. And so you want to be twisting and looking in that direction. We got Olaf in the chat saying that he's sailing on the Baltic Sea and the North Sea, and he wants to improve his tacks and jibes. So great goal. I think not enough people have the goal of improving tacks and jibes because they may be distracted with other things, but consistent tacks, consistent jibes, it lays a foundation for everything else. And it gives you the power and courage to go out in all kinds of different conditions, because you know that if you need to, you can turn around. For the general training, I recommend just putting the time in. And so focusing on just one of those things at a time and getting in repetitions. It's about doing rep after rep after rep. Specifically for the tacks, if you go to my.windsurfingmasterclass.com, I'll put it in the chat. There's a tack course that I have online, Fast Tack Secrets, and it has been remarkably successful at teaching people to tack. At this point now, hundreds of people have gone through the course, and their tacks improve. They go from not tacking at all to 5 out of 10, or 2, 3 out of 10 to 8 out of 10 tacks. It gives you the groundwork to improve your tacks, improve your footwork. So for tacking, that is really is my go-to. I'm so surprised at how well this has helped people with their tacks. And it gives you some exercises. You can do it at home, on land, and on the water, and a framework for how to think about your tacks. A lot of it is about getting comfortable with the footwork. And so there's exercises to train that footwork so it becomes like a dance that's automatic. And then different things on how to think about the tack and how to train for it. So I definitely recommend the Fast Tack Secrets on windsurfingmasterclass.com. You've got to go to my.windsurfingmasterclass.com to get to directly to the online course portal. If you just go to windsurfingmasterclass.com, then you've got to click here to enter the portal. And then the Fast Tack course is right there. All right. Let's get back into it. All right, this is a question from last week. So wave timing, Zach says, is kicking his ass. So we talked about this a little bit, and we want to know which spots you're sailing. So he's sailing a lot in Diamond Head. Wow, that's cool. Diamond Head is cool. And White Plains Beach. He's a regular foot, and it's a port tack spot. Yeah, that can be tricky. It's hard for him to spot the swell because when he's on a good wave, then it will disappear and fizzle out. He's puzzled because when he sups or surfs, it's easy for him to spot the waves. Yeah, shadowing someone. So this is great advice from Tomas. If you know someone who is good, just follow them and see where they pick up waves, see where they're starting their turn, see what waves they catch. I do this. It's a hack that works. If I go to a new spot, I try to clock the best guy and I follow him. And that doesn't mean that that's where I'm going to do my rotation, but it gives me a head start of knowing where to go. So it's definitely a good trick to shadow the best riders out there. Derek wants to know, how's the sailing on Maui in January? So here's the thing with Maui. The best wind is in the summer, the best waves are in the winter. So generally, the best times to go for windsurfing, wave sailing are in the fall and spring because you get the best of both worlds. Summer, super windy, great for flat water, freestyle, free ride. Can have a lot of really fun wave days as well, but it can also be really flat. So the period September, October, November, and March, April, May are going to be your go-to months. And on the winter side of those, you'll have more waves, and on the summer side of those, you'll have more wind. In the winter, it is almost always wavy, which is great. And it can be windy. So we can have winters where it's windy every day, or we can have a winter where we get a couple days a month. And so you can end up for the whole month of January, maybe getting 1-2 days of wind. Or maybe you're getting a bunch of wind, but it's all Kona winds coming from port tack, which can be great, especially if you're a pro and you can handle the tricky Kona conditions, offshore, gusty. My point is, winter is less consistent. If you can go on a forecast, or if you like to surf, and so you're into using the waves without the wind, then it's also a good time. We've got a question from Ragnar. He asks, any progress on the forward loop training? I'm not sure I understand. I'm working on the forward loop online course. I just did a big recording for that. I spent all day yesterday. And my goal is to get it online before I go to Gran Canaria. So it should be online before then, the online course. All right, next up, we got a question from Johan van der Sanden. Are there anyone in the group who trains with extra head weight? He sees people with extra body weight. I wonder if extra weight on the head is a good idea. I don't know. I think that sounds scary and gnarly. I think it's good to train your neck in the gym. There's some neck safe courses. I wouldn't sail with weight on your head. That sounds bad. All right. I asked this question. I want to know where people are getting their windsurfing news. And so it seems like the winner chicken dinner is Windsurfing TV. And after that, we've got Facebook, and then a few others like Windsurf Journal. And not many people go to Continent 7 anymore. Maybe they never did. I thought Continent 7 was a go-to, and maybe it used to be, maybe not anymore. This French Windsurf Journal, British windsurf.co.uk. So are you guys going to windsurfingtv.com, or are you going so are you all going to windsurfing.tv, the website, or the YouTube channel? Or interesting. It's always good to find out where people get their information. Bay is looking for keep a mast. All right, Bay, I gotta write you. I'm gonna make a note. Send me a PM, a private message. I will get this sorted for you. Hopefully I remember. All right. Next up, some questions. Okay, so this is really interesting. And I think we talked about this a little bit, but I think this is super interesting about progress. And so this comes from Azel, and he says, I think that progression comes with falling. Yes, if you do not fall, you're standing still. 100% agree. One of the most frustrating things about windsurfing and getting older and having done it for my whole life is the time and energy he has to put in to get better. Life takes its time, and not sailing several days every week makes you plateau. I don't know if that's true. I don't think you have to sail several days every week. Um, I think you can go, which this is maybe a controversial opinion, but I think you could go even just a few weeks a year. But if you have really intense weeks, and so let's say you go, like if you did, let's say you did 2 weeks every quarter, and that was the only windsurfing you had in the whole year, which is actually a lot of windsurfing. It's probably than what most people could do. Um, but still, that's only 8 weeks in the year. And those were targeted trips. You're going to make a lot of progress. So you don't have to go every day or every week, a few days every week. I disagree with that. Like if you just did 4 trips a year with 2 weeks each trip, somewhere with a lot of wind, consistent wind, you're going to make a lot of progress. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it. I'm just making a point against this point. Maybe this is one of the reasons many windsurfers take up winging, other sports. Yeah, could be. The main focus has been freestyle, and he gets to plateau around the flocka and the spock. How do others cope with this? I love this question. I think this is such a great question. This is such a great question, and I will pull this out and make it a discussion post. So I'm going to pull this out. We can all talk about it. So here, I'm going to copy this, put it in the group right now. And if you have a comment, I want to hear your comment. I'm going to give some of my thoughts on it. All right. So anyway, so my take on that in terms of the fun, in terms of the learning, I think with wave riding, it's really easy to have fun all the time and to keep progressing. And you don't need to consciously push yourself as much as you do for freestyle. So with freestyle, if you want to keep progressing, getting off the plateau, once you can land a spock, you can land a spock. You can work on coming out of it planing. You can work on getting it so that you can do them 100% of the time. Like there's a progression, but then at the end of that, you need to learn a new move. You've got to learn the flocka, you've got to learn the grubby, you've got to learn the funnel, learn it one-handed. And there are infinite moves to learn, but it is this um, very delineated progression. Whereas in the waves, it's more amorphous because yes, there are moves to learn, but it's also just a constant learning. And it's these, the quest, there's no point where you're like, yeah, I learned the cutback, I learned the bottom turn. It's a constant, infinite refinement of these moves. And once you get to a certain level, which is, I want to say it's like expert level, so not pro level, but definitely not beginner level. Wave riding becomes this amazing dance. Like for me, wave riding is so much more than a sport. It's so much more than the feeling I get going out and doing freestyle tricks, which I also like to do. I like going out and doing freestyle tricks. But wave riding is like this dance with chaos. And, the ocean is so powerful and it's different every time. And to ride waves well is to read waves and to react to waves. You're not projecting yourself onto the wave like you are in a skate park or you are on a freestyle session. And so there's this communication, it feels like, with this incredibly powerful source, the ocean, that's so much more powerful than any of us individually. And there's something that just excites me so much, especially when the conditions are powerful, that you put your board in the most critical, dangerous part of the wave in the lip. And if you're right there hitting it smack dab right on perfect 100% commitment, then and only then does it throw you to safety. And if you shy away from it, if you're hesitant, it smashes you down. It's like, for me, like, it's really this kind of religious experience. It's a faith test in big waves. It's a test of faith. It's like, okay, do you trust the ocean to carry you safely? And the only way to prove your faith is to put yourself in the jaws of this wave with all its power coming at you. And if you waver in your faith, it's going to smash you down. If you slow down, if you hesitate, if you get scared, you get smashed. Those are the moments that you eat it. If you go for it, even if you fall, you get projected to the safety zone. The danger is in having that loss of faith. And so for me, riding waves on a windsurfer is this beautiful, amazing experience. And there's no point where it gets boring, especially if you're in bigger waves. And the beautiful thing for all of you guys is that you're not used to riding huge waves. You're not riding jaws like I am. And so for you to push yourself with bigger and bigger waves, there are a lot of spots. Like for me, it gets harder and harder because I started riding big waves so young. But for you, maybe it's a head high day or a logo high day. And those are really easy to find. You can find those all over the world, all over Europe, all over America, all over Africa, all over Asia. And so finding those spots that give you that intense dance, that intense pleasure, that intense connection with the universe isn't that hard. So anyway, so for wave sailing, I think there's a magic to it. I think also, though, progress is important. There are people who say, "Oh, I don't care about getting better. I just want to have fun." But I think that that's a mistake. The two are really linked. By being aware of your progress and having things to work on, it helps you have fun, because then on the days where the conditions are shitty, you have something to work on and it becomes really fun. It's like working on skateboard tricks. You can have a parking lot. A parking lot. What's more boring than a freaking parking lot, right? And you can work on your tricks. You start working on ollies, and then you work on kickflips, and you work on shove-its, and you work on impossible. There's a whole hundreds and hundreds of tricks that you can work on, and it can be really fun. And in the same way, if you have the structure for working on different things in what we call shitty conditions, small waves, light wind, it's fun in that same way. And a lot of what I've been trying to do with some of the online coaching and in-person coaching is giving these structures and frameworks so people have the understanding of what to do in those conditions and to help them improve, get off the plateau. Um, Talked about this on the live coaching today. All right, what's our timestamp, guys? Around, let's say, around 40 minutes in. All right, Stefan says, how would you set up your gear to maximize upwind performance? He's sailing with different setups, and he noticed with the nice wave riding setup, he loses upwind performance. He mostly adjusts outhaul, boom height, downhaul because they're easy to adjust on the water. One of the easiest ways to get better upwind performance is to put in a bigger fin. Once we start talking about these other things, it really depends. I would say that if you're focusing on planing, if you're trying to always be on a plane, that is going to hurt your upwind performance more than anything else. Often, when the conditions are marginal, the best way to get upwind is not to worry about planing, and you're like just subplaning and just chugging upwind, and that will get you upwind best, rather than always going downwind to fight to stay on a plane. Otherwise, then the faster you're going, generally, like, I don't mean the faster you're going, so then you should be going downwind. I mean, if you set yourself up with your setup to go faster, you'll have an easier time going upwind. So, um, higher boom is probably going to help with early planing. Less downhaul is going to get you going sooner. Maybe a little bit less outhaul too. Depends a bit on your sails. It can depend on your sails, but if you have good power in the sail, you'll be able to get upwind. I think the difference is this in fully powered conditions or underpowered? Because that makes a difference too. Like if you're comparing setups for fully powered conditions going upwind, that's going to be different than if we're talking about light wind, because a lot of light wind getting upwind, which is where most people have the issue with going upwind, is going to be a lot about getting going. So getting going, what helps you to get going is also going to be what helps you to get upwind. For getting upwind, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is not looking upwind high enough. You want to look upwind way higher than you want to go, and you can really twist your torso in that direction. So you don't have your hips pointing towards your toes. You have the hips pointing towards the nose, and really twisting your body, hips to the nose, and really pointing. And we've got Gataboo in the chat, and he says, 4-minute Tabata with 2 kg on the head, not surfing. That sounds gnarly. Ragnar says, windsurfing is there's endless things to learn. Yeah, agreed. All right, Remy says he needs to replace his sails. All right. Send me a private message. Figure this out. Help you out. Get you sorted. All right, I think we talked about this. These are some success moments. This is a little technical. All right. Love this travel bag from Dennis, which he modified. So he created this to go on the bottom. Velcro sewn on. Super cool. Genius. I love it. Yeah, super cool. Dennis and Tomas with the custom board bags. Super cool. So like this is just help with the airports, and then it can come right off. It's great. Because the problem with wheeled bags is they add way too much weight. This is the problem. Wheeled surf bags like this, the wheels add too much weight and you don't hit the airplane requirements. I traveled to, so not with this bag, but with similar kinds of bags, but without the cool custom setup like Dennis did. I traveled to Morocco. I had 7 sails, something like 6 masts, 2 booms, 2 boards, and my board bag was 33 kilos, 32 and a half. I think it was like 33, but it weighed 32 on the scale when they weighed it. And my sail bag was like 23. So fully fine for the baggage weights. And again, I had 2 boards, 7 sails, 6 masts, maybe 5.5 masts, 2 booms, a lot of stuff. But because the bags are so lightweight, I'm able to take all that stuff. All right. I love this so much. I want to take a little screenshot to remember it. Maybe I'll make my own. All right. I think we're kind of caught up. Rasmus is looking for harness lines that don't swing. I use the Tacking, and I think they're good. Yeah, so I don't know. Here's some funny stuff from the masterclass. I'm gonna post more as well. Stefan looking for info near Hertz Halls, which I don't think there is great windsurfing near Hertz Halls. I've windsurfed there, and I know other people who've gone up to windsurf there. Unless there's some secret, I don't think it's actually that good. We sailed up in Skagen once. That was amazing. Very beautiful. I don't know if we talked about all this stuff. So let's talk about this. Because I was in Morocco at the time. And so sheeting in. So we want to talk about not sheeting in so much off the top turn. And yeah, so what I think is the best exercise is one-handed off the lip. So you take your backhand off, and that teaches you how to do a carving off the lip without sheeting in at all. All right, we've already watched these. It's cool post about people's experience with coaching. I know we've already talked about this. Yeah, and like that, we're all caught up. All caught up. Awesome. So that means that I'm going to call this a day. You can post your photos, questions, videos, all of the above in the group. We're doing a masterclass in Gran Canaria, July 21st. If you want to sign up, go to Windsurfing Masterclass. The website is just up there somewhere. Why can't I point to it? There we go. Just up there. And you can sign up for the Gran Canaria Masterclass. There are a few spots left. I'm looking forward to it. Otherwise, I'm not planning to get on the water this week because I'm planning to get my head down and finish some online courses, mainly the forward loop course. I also filmed while I was in Morocco a course about throwing heavy balls, jumping and ball throwing for windsurfers. And it sounds like I'm joking, but I'm not. With sports scientist Cedric, we developed a course that targets mobility and explosiveness. Two things that I think a lot of people are missing when I talk to windsurfers about what they're doing for their training. People are going running, they're going on bike rides, they're getting in their cardio. Maybe they're going to the gym, they're doing some strength, but almost no one I talk to is training their power. So mobility, power, explosiveness, there's a bit of everything in the course because we wanted to make sure that someone who was doing it would develop a good foundation. So there is some conditioning and some strength elements to it, especially if you haven't done very much, then it's going to train you quite a bit. But the main emphasis of that course is power development through throwing and jumping. You can get a medicine ball, pretty easy to get online, like 4 kilos. But that course and the loop course are going to go online soon. Yeah, Ragnar, I have been busy, man. It's been too much. I need to get on the water. But no, in all seriousness, it's been good. It's fun coming up with these courses and figuring out how to unlock these things for all of you. So I've been having fun doing it. We've got Thomas in the chat. I want to go to Norway. I want to go. If there's a 2-day, 3-day forecast, I want to go. All right. I'm going to sign off. You guys are great. Put your questions, comments, videos, photos, all the above in the Facebook group. I know some of you guys are not on Facebook. We need a solution for that. Maybe I can do a community post on the YouTube page. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I will do that. I'll do that sometime this week. So then we can put questions, get questions for the live stream on YouTube. So you don't have to be in Facebook to do it. Facebook's great because you can post the videos and photos and stuff, but this will be the next best thing. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Have a great windy week, and I will see you on Sunday.